Hey everybody, welcome to another interesting session in this AI journey. Today, we are going to be talking about one of the important algorithms in the paradigm of machine learning, which is k-means clustering, right? So let's take the whiteboard and discuss what this algorithm is all about. So we have studied a lot of other classification algorithms or regression algorithms, right, earlier. Now, the common thing between these two algorithms is these two categories of algorithms was that they were supervised learning algorithms. So what's the point here? It's that you had labels where you could use these labels, like say, for example, if your fruit, like say if it's a category of fruits, and then based on your diameter of the fruit and then the color of the fruit, let's say diameter is 10 centimeters and color is red, then the fruit is an apple. If the diameter is 15 and then the color is green, then the fruit is, say, something else. If your diameter is 8 and the color is orange, and the fruit is, say, an orange, right? So on and so forth. So you had categories to train. You had these categories given to you in your training data, based on which you could train the algorithm on this data. And then on a new set of data points, you were able to apply this learning from this data set to predict new categories. So that's something called as a supervised learning. But take, for example, a case where you have, say, your customer data. Let's say you are a grocery shop and then you have a customer data that looks like this, where you have, say, your uh, the customer name, say this customer A, and the product which is ordered by the customer, and then the quantity of the product, right? Let's say, for example, the product is a smartphone and quantity is two smartphones. Then customer B has ordered a laptop and quantity is one. Then customer A has again ordered, say, a shirt, quantity is three. Then customer B has ordered, say, this table continues until the bottom, right? It's supposed to include many. So the customer B has ordered, say, again, say a smartphone, one. And then customer C has ordered, say perfume and quantities too. So like this. So now like this, just like A, B, C, you have many such customers. And then what you want to do is like based on the products which A is ordering, like A has ordered a smartphone and a shirt, then B has ordered a laptop and a smartphone. Similarly, C has ordered a perfume. You want to group these customers into categories, right? And you do not know how many categories you have. Like this, let's say you have thousands of rows of customers. And if you want to group them into their respective categories, right? Like if you want to say categorize these customers into say three categories, or maybe like say two categories. Like say if it's three categories, it may be like say high buyers, medium buyers, or low buyers, something like that. If it's two categories, it might just be like say high buyers or low buyers, something like that. If you want to do that, how do you get that done, right? So that's an unsupervised learning problem, where just by observation or maybe just by using certain metrics, typically the product and the quantity, you're supposed to categorize these customers into their respective categories, right? So this is called as a clustering problem, right? It's a clustering problem. And how do you solve this problem? So k-means clustering is one of the ways in which you solve this problem. So how does this algorithm work? Let's say, like based on say two parameters, right? Like say, like parameter one, P1 and parameter two, P2. Based on these two parameters, your data is say maybe looks like this, right? Now, how do you cluster this data? Like, do you cluster it like this? Like this is one cluster and this is another cluster, or do you do something like this? Like say this is one cluster and then this is another cluster, right? Or do you do something like this? Like say, okay, this is one cluster and this is another cluster. How do you cluster this? What's the best way of doing this? So that's what k-means clustering does for you. So it starts with like say two random points. Now, first thing you have to do is decide the value of k. How many clusters do you want? Let's say we want k equals to 2. Let's say we want two clusters. So it takes any two random points, like say it takes this point and then this point. It takes these points and calls them as centroids. Centroid means centroids of the clusters. Okay, so these are called as centroid points. Now, what it does next is that, so it assumes that these two might be the centroid points, like the centers of the clusters, right? And then what it does is then it takes every other point in this scatter and then tries to associate that point to the nearest cluster. Let's say this point. What is the nearest cluster to this point? Is it this one or this one? It's obviously this one, right? So it's going to associate this point with this cluster. Similarly, this point, the nearest cluster is this one. So it associates this point with this cluster. Similarly, this point goes to this cluster. I'm saying I mean centroid, not cluster, centroid. This point goes to this cluster. This point goes to this centroid. This point goes to this centroid. This point goes to this centroid, right? So what it's going to do now is that it's going to associate, like say, all these points to this centroid, and then all these points to this centroid, right? Now, the next step it does is once it has associated a group of points to a respective centroid, the next step it's going to do is it's going to transfer the centroids to the mean point over here. So what is the mean of all these points? It is this point. So now the centroid, instead of this one, this becomes the centroid, new centroid. And instead of this one, this becomes a new centroid because this is the mean of all these points here. So now it's going to remove the initial centroids and then consider these as the centroids. And now the process is going to be repeated once again. So once again, it's going to try to associate all the points in this plane to one of these centroids. So now, right? So now let's say this point gets allocated to the centroid, this one to this one to maybe this one. So now again, it allocates a new set of points to the new set of centroids. So now again, it's going to move this to the average. So like to the mean point. So now what is the mean point of all these points? Say it's over here somewhere. So now the centroid moves over here. What is the mean of these points? It's somewhere over here, right? So now this centroid moves over here. So now you see the movement has reduced. Now the movement is not that great compared to the earlier movement, right? Because now you have a more accurate positioning for the centroids. So in this way, you keep on repeating this process until the movement of the centroids is drastically reduced or it comes to nil. That's when you realize that, okay, now my centroids have been finalized. So these are my final centroids and these are my final clusters. So this is how I can be segmenting the set of data points into the respective clusters. So in this case, it's k equals 2. Clear? Is the process clear? I hope it is, right? You may rewatch the video from beginning if you want to repeat this process. So in this way, k means clustering comes to the rescue when you want to cluster a data set based on centroids, like, right? So basically, this is an example of a centroid-based clustering, all right? So I hope this video was helpful. I wish you all good luck with your learning process. If you have any questions or any suggestions, please feel free to write them in the comment box. Until then, take care, all the best, and see you in another episode. Bye-bye. If you like this video, please press the like button. For more such videos, subscribe to the channel. If you have suggestions for a new topic and would want to see a video made on that topic, please feel free to comment in the comment section below. Thanks for watching the video and see you in another video. Bye bye.